everyone, welcome to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today's video is going to be a makeup inventory collection video on all of my powders, loose, pressed, translucent, with color, etc. So I'm going to go over my entire powder drawer. I don't think that I'll be doing too much decluttering here. I'm going to sound like a broken record since I am doing multiple videos of this, but I did do a pretty extensive declutter for the past 2 years now, and I'm feeling pretty positive about my collection, just where it's at. So there won't be that much decluttering, but I will link the videos where I've done hardcore declutters down below in case like that's more your jam. I don't think there'll be too many swatches today because powder is not really something that you can swatch. But without any further ado, if you like makeup collection videos, inventory videos, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. I would love it if you stuck around. But with all that, we're just going to get started so this video is not too long. This is my powder drawer. I have unopened powders here as well as some opened powders. And I try to rotate through all these as best as I can. Now, powder is not necessarily my favorite category. I really want to work on lowering this. I don't use powder all that often, and if I do, I'm very light-handed with powder. So there is definitely some improvement I could do with this drawer, but this is where it stands as of now. The first thing I'm going to do is talk about all the powders that are currently in projects that I don't keep in this drawer. I keep in the acrylic stand that's on my desk for day-to-day use. So the first one is a mini of the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder. This is in clear. This is kind of like my marking on it so far. Just started using this in Project Pan. It's really nice. I can tell you I'm just more of a pressed powdered girl than a loose powder girl. So trying to get through a few of these before I start repurchasing like my holy grails. I don't think that this is it. The pressed version was nicer than the loose version. And yeah, it's okay. But this is in my Project Pan, which will also be linked down below if you want to see that. This one is just one that I'm trying to get through. This is the Becca Hydra powder, and I'm almost done. It's not technically in any project, but I'm trying to like kind of get through my minis. I took the sifter out and everything, and I just use this, like I kind of use it once a week or so, and slow and steady, eventually I'll get this out and get some of these other minis out as well that I don't want around. Then this Laura Mercier powder, this is the Candle Glow Sheer Perfecting Powder in 1. This is also in my Project Pan. Here's what it's looking like. I've talked about this powder extensively, but I love this powder. This is what an Hourglass finishing powder to me should be. For some reason, like the Hourglass powders, I don't love as much as this Laura Mercier powder. I actually think they discontinued this powder, which is a shame, but I love it a lot. The only downside is I have the shade 1, like I said, and I still find that it gives a little bit of color and can change my foundation. If you're very, very fair, this would be too dark for you. And the last powder I have in a project is in my Shop My Stash this month. I am pre-filming, so it might not be in my Shop My Stash currently, but this is what I have now, and this is the Makeup Forever HD Skin Twist and Light in 02 Medium. I have a dedicated video on this powder actually because it is newer in my collection, and I love this powder. I think it's great. I'll link the video down below, but it has 3 different colors here, and you twist it to get the powder out. I believe, who did something like this? It wasn't Juvia's Place, was it? Beauty Bakery? I don't remember, but another company did a powder very similar to this where it twists. The twist thing is a little bit finicky, like you can't do it sideways. You really have to be holding it this way to twist it or else it kind of gets stuck. But other than that, like the powder is really, really nice. And I like using it for my preferred method of kind of just dusting it all over the face to set my makeup. So I'm gonna continue to use this. Now, before we go into all my open ones, I think I'm just going to go into my unopened since there's less of these. So really quickly, I have the L'Oreal Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear. This is a foundation in a powder. I have the shade 120 Vanilla. Eventually I'll get around to this. I really like the Infallible line. I also have the Becca Under Eye Brightening Setting Powder. I don't know if I'll like this because it is a loose powder, but I heard good things. And when Becca closed down, I kind of purchased all the products that I had wanted from them that I never got around to purchasing, at least before they closed down. I have the Nikita Joy Cosmetics Finishing Powder. This is supposed to be very mattifying. It's like a velvet powder. A little bit nervous about it, but I know the people that love this powder. So I do want to give it a shot, and hopefully it's not too mattifying. Then I have the Becca Light Shifter Finishing Veil. This is the shade 1 Scattering Light. Excited to try this, kind of see like how close it is to the Laura Mercier, but we'll just wait and see when I eventually finish that up. I do have the JCat Aquassurance. This was hyped up for a long time. Taylor Wynn used to talk about this a lot. I have the shade Natural. We'll see. I don't know how much like I love powder foundations. I definitely don't think I'll continue to buy them as of now. Just my fantasy self wanted to be someone where I like everything and everything works for me. So I just bought. But in the future, I don't think I'll be buying powder foundations with color. I definitely prefer more of a translucent powder. Then the rest of them that I have is this Artist Couture Multi-Use Beauty Powder. I don't know, I think that this was like on sale for Black Friday one year for like $10. I have the shade Cream Puff, so I picked it up. The Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Powder Foundation. I have the shade 185. I believe I wear the shade normally 200 in like the liquid foundations, so we'll see how this works for me. This was on sale in Sephora France one time, which is why I picked it up, I'm pretty sure. And then I have 2 of these backups of the Giorgio Armani. This is the Luminous Silk Powder. Here is the actual component that I have of like an actual one. I purchased this and then I pulled it into a Shop My Stash, and I love this powder. It looks so beautiful on the skin and like right underneath your eyes, like kind of where on your cheeks where your pores are. It is so pore blurring. And then, you know, I finally tried this because clearly I have a problem not opening things and trying them. And then I found out that they had discontinued this powder. I was really sad. So I found some on eBay or Mercari or something unopened, like the little testers sealed up refills. So I bought 2 of them for like pretty inexpensive, and now I have backups. I really try not to purchase backups, but this broke me. It broke me a little bit. And those are all of my unopened. The rest of these are all opened. So let's kind of go through them. I have the Guerlain Meteorites. This is just the original in light. I pulled this not too long ago into a Shop My Stash, and I feel like making some progress in this. It actually is lower. It's hard to tell that it gets lower because they're like these ball things, but I'm making some progress. I don't love this. It's a little gimmicky to me, and it just really looks pretty on your vanity if you're someone who likes to display makeup. I mean, I'll for sure keep the component and maybe repurpose it, but I would not repurchase this at all. The Lancome Absolute powder I have in Absolute Ecru Light. I used to have multiples of these powders. They also discontinued this powder, and it's actually really pretty. I almost just decluttered all of them, but I decided to keep one and actually try it. And it says Radiant Smoothing Powder. It is. It's very nice. Is it something I would repurchase? No, I don't really think about this powder. It's never really on my mind, so I would not, but I have to say when I use it, I am impressed by it. The Hourglass Veil Powder. I mean, this is one of my most used powders, and you can just see how little I've used it. I'm maybe halfway through, and I would say out of all of my powders, I've used this one the most. That's how light-handed I am with product, especially powder. Really, really like this product. To me, it's worth the money. However, that's because I don't go through powder very quickly, and that's really it. So for me, the cost per use is worth it. If I was someone who just blew through powder, I probably would find like a more affordable powder. Other loose powders. I have two from Huda Beauty. I have the Pound Cake, just the original. And, you know, I've had this in my collection for a long time, but you can barely see anywhere in it. It is very thick, very heavy. I actually do like this powder. Just this is going to take me my entire life to get through. So I much prefer the minis. The mini I have in Cherry Blossom Cake, the pink powder. And I love that it has like this little puff on it. Like I think it's really smart of them. This is much more manageable for me just in terms of a powder. If in the future I was ever to like go through this, which I highly, highly doubt, I would repurchase it in a mini. I actually quite like the Huda powder for specific occasions. Like I'd probably, in an ideal world, have 5 powders and maybe like 2 of them loose, like a really good baking powder, and then like just a normal setting loose powder, and then the rest would be pressed powders. I don't know. Other loose powder, I have the Dominique Cosmetics in Rosita. This is also a pink powder. I purchased this because I could not find the Huda Beauty one was sold out for such a long time. And then of course, right when I purchased this one finally came into stock. This one's okay, but it is, compared to the Huda, just not my favorite tone. I don't know if you can tell. Like this is just brighter and this is more muted. I didn't like it on the skin as much, but we'll see. I'm not ready to declutter it just yet because it is newer in my collection. So I'll just have to wait and see and decide a little bit later down the line if this is something I'm gonna hang on to or not. And then 2 other minis, I have the Soft Light Blurring Powder. This is not actually opened, so another Becca powder that I need to get through. This is kind of more of like this Lancome kind, so we'll see how that goes. This other one was their newer one, the Hydro, that had like the water. That no longer has that. It's completely dry because it's old. And then a Cover FX sample that I got, the Translucent Light Perfect Setting Powder. I don't think I open this either, or maybe I did, but it has like this cute little sifter for a sample. I mean, a really nice sample. So just have to get through this. Can't see myself purchasing. Those are all my loose ones. Now let's go through my pressed powders really quickly. This might be one of the shorter videos, so that's nice. We'll just kind of keep this how it is, so that way I don't have to rearrange it too much. I do have the Pat McGrath Labs blurring under eye powder. I have the shade medium. Should have bought the light, but that's okay. Really like this powder. It is blurring. I did not realize how blurring it was until I tried it in a video, and like I could visibly tell when editing that video that my under eyes were blurred. This is beautiful. Might even repurchase the translucent shade when Pat McGrath has like a 40% off sale or something. I have the Guerlain. This is the Terracotta Nude, the Nude Glow Powder, Bare Skin Effect, Long Lasting, Universal shade. Love that. It is not. If I was to declutter something, it would be this. But part of me thinks that I should try it one more time before decluttering it fully. I have been thinking this is kind of like on my chopping block out of every single powder, I would say. I will be pulling this into a Shop My Stash, I think, and then deciding if I'm going to declutter it from there. It's not like bad, but it definitely isn't universal. And it really is just like not my favorite. I don't know what it is about it, but Guerlain products are either hit or miss. I either completely love them or just am not impressed. Then this number 7 powder, this is the Lift and Illuminate. I have light medium. This is supposed to be a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury, which I actually completely finished up and I'm not going to repurchase until I decide what's going to be like my number one under eye setting powder. Very, very comparable though. Probably like for the price, like I don't see why I would do the Charlotte Tilbury when I could just stick with this and have it be less expensive. I would say it's a really good dupe for it. Then I have the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores Pressed. I think you're going to see how much I love this powder. This is just from natural use. Like I really use this powder as oil control in the summer. I'll kind of do where my glasses sit, and it kind of just really helps to mattify, or like as a touch-up powder. I do like that it has the sponge because that's how I use this powder. And the pan is from natural use. Like I was not intentionally trying to hit pan or anything like that. Like this is just normal everyday powder use, and I was able to hit pan. So that just is a testament to how much I like this powder. I would consider repurchasing this because it does serve like a specific makeup need where I don't have really any other powders that I use as a specific touch-up powder. So very much like this. Would like to get this finished up out of my collection so I could purchase a new one. This one is quite old. This is the CoverGirl Simply Ageless Translucent Pressed Powder. Really good powder as well. Really like this. Actually had this in Shop My Stash again not too long ago. You're going to hear me say that a lot, but Shop My Stash is the primary way that I rotate through my products. And I have nothing bad to say about this other than I do worry about flashback because it is so white. Have not tested that. Would need to. Between this though and the number 7, I still say the number 7 probably wins. So if I was gonna have like a minimal number 1, it would be the number 7. The Givenchy Prisme Libre Pressed Powder. I don't know why people from the US have trouble finding this. I was able to find this fairly easily on the Sephora France website. I freaking love this powder. I actually, you can see, almost wore away the embossing. It does get hard pan for me a little bit easy. It comes with a brush, which I like. And I tried this before I tried the loose version of this. The pressed is so much better. The pressed is just so much better. The loose version in this shade is a lot brighter and lighter, so you do have to be careful with your shades. This in the pressed version is just much better in my opinion. I use this as an all-over setting powder. I do also use this on days where I'm wearing no makeup and maybe my sunscreen is a little too shiny, a little too dewy and wet. I'll use this to like mattify, and it just gives like a really pretty filter on the skin. Now I do want to pick up the pink version in the loose form because for a under eye powder, well, I don't know. I might pick up the pink version in the pressed because I do just prefer a pressed powder. Yeah, I probably will. I like that they have minis for the loose version and not the pressed. Or like I wish they had a mini for the pressed, but I don't see how that's feasible because of the 4 quadrants. Just thinking out loud here, but I was thinking of picking up a mini in the pink, the number 3 shade. However, I'd probably pick it up in the pressed because I can't recommend this enough. This is one that would stay in my collection if I was to only keep 5 powders. The Jouer, this is the Soft Focus Hydrate and Set in Light. You can probably tell my thoughts just based on like the pan embossing. This is like more of a powder foundation. It has like a nice radiance to it. I really just need to give this more of a shot. It looks kind of blurring on top of the skin, but I actually put it on top of the Pat McGrath, so it might be more that than the actual product. This is another one like the Guerlain. I think I'm gonna set these aside actually to remind me to bring this into a Shop My Stash because these two are the ones that are like on the chopping block. Now another CoverGirl, I have the Advanced Radiance. Bought this because of Tati a long time ago. Used a decent amount of this powder and would continue to use it. Mine gets hard pan really easily, which is why I haven't, but decent powder. Like I wonder actually if CoverGirl replaced it with this. They're very similar. They're very similar. I don't even know if they still sell this, but it's a nice powder. Plan on getting through it, and I probably wouldn't repurchase it after that. I wouldn't hate pan this. Like, I would enjoy using it up, but it's just not one that I can see myself needing to buy over and over. Then I have the L'Oreal Age Perfect Creamy Powder Foundation in, what shade are you? 300 Ivory. Haven't used this that much, but it is a very nice powder foundation. It's not too heavy cakey. It does like have a nice radiance. I usually prefer like a soft matte liquid foundation, but in a powder, I do kind of want it to have a little bit of sheen, because when it's too matte of a powder, that's when like it kind of looks really cakey to me and like clings to all the hairs on your face. And last powder I have is this Makeup Forever. This is the HD Skin Matte Velvet. I have the shade 1R12, and I quite like this. I bought this because this was the reformulated version to the old one, and I never tried the old one, and I remember it was so popular online. Just got it all under my nails. It's a really decent powder foundation. This is the one, you know, where it's a powder foundation for sure. This is not one I would necessarily get away with putting it on top of a foundation. Like, you know, this I could put on top of a foundation to make it a little full coverage. This I would not do. I do like that there's some versatility in this product. You can use different brushes to make it sheer, medium, full coverage. They have 2 different sides on this sponge for that purpose as well. And I need to pull this out more because I do really enjoy this. I did a dedicated video on this powder as well. And then I think that completes my powder drawer. This actually wasn't too bad. I was expecting, you know, this video to be a lot longer, but semi-manageable. I'm gonna kind of clean this up. Other than that, though, I would love to hear your opinion on powder. Like, are you someone who buys a lot of powder, doesn't use it like myself? Are you someone like you heavily rely on powder? You're just oilier and you need that? Or, I don't know. Just let me know your thoughts, all powder, below. Are there any of these that you'd like me to test on camera, do a first impression on, that you're also curious about? I can do that. And that way I know what to prioritize video-wise, review-wise for all of you. That always helps me out. But if you like the inventory videos, again, just make sure you give it a thumbs up. It always helps me out. These videos are always really popular. And like, I wonder why, but I also am like addicted to watching these on YouTube. So I get it, but I also don't get it because it's not the funnest video to film. That's where I'm going to leave you all, though. Hopefully you enjoyed it. You enjoyed my collection. Let me know if there's any powders based on what I like that I should maybe pick up, because I'm always looking for recommendations, of course. And this is where I'm going to leave you all. I hope you're having a great one, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, everyone.